In 1981, when I was editor of the Sunday Times, I made a bid with the executive committee and huge support to buy the Sunday Times and run it as it had always been run, with great independence for the editors and the journalists. What we didn't know was that there was a secret meeting in January 24th between Mrs. Thatcher and Mr. Murdoch. And the minutes of that meeting, which only came out by accident from the Thatcher archives, show that this meeting took place and a deal was basically done by which Mrs. Thatcher would not tell the cabinet about the meeting, but she would see to it that the fine print of monopolist law could be got round, and therefore Mr. Murdoch took control of those papers. Now, Leveson's very disappointing. Indeed, he doesn't really go into the detail that was really necessary, but he's making vague remarks about the need for future transparency, etc., etc. So press ownership is an unresolved issue in the Leveson report. What Leveson introduces is a highly credible system of self-regulation with various penalties for people who don't cooperate. But what's controversial is his suggestion that this be underpinned by statutory regulation. But what he's talking about isn't regulation of the press by the state. He's talking about giving the press an opportunity to regulate it itself with the backing of law in public perception of how it's doing its duties, and with the knowledge also that it really does have backing behind its own suggestions for correcting the misconduct of the press. So I think on the whole it's a very good report, although I'm highly critical of the fact that it seems to accept the present level of media concentration, and that present level of media concentration is one of the reasons why the phone hacking scandal erupted in the first place. Why? Because the politicians were scared of News International, and News International was scared of nobody.